Well, through the first quarter of the year, there have been some big surprises in the Eastern Conference, but there have been quite a few surprises out west. So far, the Colorado Avalanche have exceeded everyone's expectations from the preseason and are currently leading the Northwest Division with a 13-7-3 record. What do you guys have to say about the Avalanche team? Now, this Avalanche team under first-year head coach Joe Sacco is very young, but their youth is paying off so far. Starting off with Tim, why do you think this has been the case? And Chris, how do you think the acquisition of goaltender Craig Anderson has really paid off?
Well, you look at the youth of this team, it's paying off greatly. Ryan O'Reilly barely made it out of camp, and he's doing nicely with contributions. Matt Duchene, the third overall pick, he's not being rushed in a situation which everyone thought he would be, and he's doing a nice job there. You also got Stastny there. He's providing the talent he needs to become a top star. Wolski, and they still have some veterans. Hayduke, Adam Foote took over the captainship, so the mix of youth and the veterans is paying off nicely for the Avalanche under Joe Sacco.
I think Adam Foote has picked up right where Joe Sacco left off. I think having Craig Anderson in the back is really, a veteran for those young guys and a young defense and a young, forward composite. They've really been able to gel all together and come up with a system there that seems to work for them so far. And that really does start with Craig Anderson. I mean, he's literally stood on his head and been the breadwinner for Colorado so far. So if he can keep that going, I mean, there's no doubt that he could be in the Vezina talks towards the end of the year. But again, we're only a quarter of the way through, so you wonder how Anderson will react to the rest of the season and when we, make it through the April month.
And the signing of Anderson is only going to help their backup, Peter Bujaj. He's a rookie, and he was a good prospect. And it's going to help him with the veteran in Anderson, who was a career backup in Florida and several other places, including Boston, too.
Well, another surprise team is the Phoenix Coyotes, who face uncertainty this summer on their future, thanks to the NHL and Jim Basili's attempt to buy the team and move them to Hamilton, Ontario. Now, because of this, Wayne Gretzky resigned as head coach a month before the season began, and the team was left with more uncertainty. Now, my question to both of you is, how well has this team handled all the adversity, all the pressure, and all the stress this year?
Well, you look at the personnel on the ice. You look at the young players, they're progressing nicely. Keith Yandel had a huge goal, a controversial huge goal Saturday night against Philly, but nevertheless it was huge. Peter Mueller is a young prospect on the rise, and Ed Jovanovski, he's been hit with injuries, but if he comes back, he can contribute to his team. Shane Doan is a good leader for his team, and you got to look at Brizgalov at goaltender. Aside from being one of my fantasy goalkeepers last year as a backup, he's done quite well, and he actually filled in for my fantasy team for Luongo, but at the same time, for the Coyotes, he does well early on, but it will be interesting to see how he does later in the year because he's tended to struggle there as well.
I think Brizgalov's seen a winning formula in Anaheim in 06, but I think Dave Tippett has done a good job of filling in where Gretzky left off, really picking up the organization and weathering the situation in Phoenix. Obviously, it's troubled all over the place in Phoenix, whether or not they're going to go, who's going to buy them, what's going to happen in the future. But Shane Doan and Brizgalov have really, anchored the team and made sure that Dave Tippett's system is something that they can work on towards and keep the young guys all in focus.
Well, now in terms of the NHL, we've seen a lot of questions about moving teams back to Winnipeg and moving the Nordiques back to Canada. Do you think that is a good idea? I mean, should the NHL put these teams in markets that can support them? Because Phoenix isn't really a big hockey town. I mean, having Wayne Gretzky for a coach alone, every game should be sold out, especially in a hockey town, especially in Montreal or Vancouver. That's what it would be like. So how do you think that losing Wayne Gretzky as a coach has affected this team?
Well, Chris was mentioning Toronto and Buffalo with Hamilton, Ontario. You got to look at the Ottawa Senators, too. They're in the province, and I don't think they'd like it at all. It might take away from their fan base, too, even though it's a little distance between Hamilton and Ontario, if my geography serves correct. But if that's the case, Ottawa's not going to like it, too. And there will be 3 teams in Ontario, and don't forget about Buffalo, which is right near the border.